Okay, if you have your compact disc, you can come and copy this, so don't worry. Okay, so why read in the young learner's classroom? There are many reasons like your handout, okay? So the cognitive process involved in speaking, listening, reading, and writing are interdependent, very important. So I always think that when you teach English, you should teach all 4 skills at the same time. So reading is helpful and appealing for children with visual learning styles, okay? And using reading to learn about English is to expose students to learn outside the classroom, okay? And if you provide reading experience, it can increase, okay, it can lay foundations for later language development. Reading and writing are involved in many productive and fun language learning activities, which could not be otherwise used. Okay, so this is wording wrong. Okay, and reading can be an aid to memorization. Like I said in this, the more you use, the more you can produce. Okay, so if you read and listen more, you can produce, you can say, you can speak more, and you can write more, okay, to add to your foundation. Okay, reading can improve oral ability because you have to have as many verbal banks, right? When you read, you know how to express yourself better, okay? Not teaching reading and writing can slow down students' overall progress because they have very limited input. The more input, the better, okay? Children can transfer skills from their own language, first language, and vice versa. So further developing an integrated approach toward learning. So they can read in Chinese and they can use that skill in reading English, okay? Knowing how to read opens up a world of reading in English both for pleasure and purpose. So professor was telling you reading in pleasure, the importance, and today I'm going to focus on purpose. Okay? So you can learn, okay, in different ways, okay, teach your students in different ways. Reading stories help children to access the culture of the language, just like the professor says. So that's why we have this storybook of our teachers. We produce storybooks for our students. And today's main focus will be on pre-task activities, main task, and post-task activities. Who can produce them? You. You, the designer of the lesson, are going to think about if the main task is reading a storybook, what could be the pre-tasks? So I'm going to focus on the vocabulary, okay, and the sentence pattern. Okay, I'm so happy I talk later than the professor, okay? Otherwise you'll be like, okay, something is wrong here. All right, but I'm glad. Steve Murray said that. I'm just, delivering. Okay, see, British Council. Teaching a storybook as an example. So today we use only one storybook as an example. The title is Walking Through the Jungle. And again, I have the karaoke version, okay, of the storybook, so you can copy that back, okay? So the storybook is about a little girl walking into the jungle, as the title said. And what do you see is the topic sentence, okay, very clear cut, okay? And where does the girl go? Not just the jungle, where else? The mountain, the ocean, and finally she goes home, okay? And she will share her experience, okay? So this is an interesting book and there's a lot of repetitions. So if you're gonna chunk down your teaching, it's very predictable. So the professor said, if it's too predictable, what's the fun of reading? So this is for purpose, okay? Again. Okay, not for reading fun, but I think it's fun because the storyline is clear and the pictures have a lot of clues to follow, okay? So I just walk you through this story and you just read through using the beautiful pictures, okay? See the sentence pattern, okay? And again, the animal sounds and the verbs and the places, okay? So remember all the key animals because we're going to use them, okay, in the activities, okay? So actually, pre-test, the students may not see the whole picture of the student book, the storybook. They probably will see parts from your teaching, delivery. So you see the tracking, okay, this one, because I think it's from a British version of the book, so the spelling is kind of different, which is nice. So students can, get used to different spelling, okay? So at the end, she went safely home and she shared her experience, okay? So she's running home for the supper, not dinner, okay, supper. And where have you been? I've been around the world and back. So I like the expression, so the student can learn something new. Okay, it's not always predictable, right? So, and guess what I've seen? You can start the story again. It's a never-ending story, okay? When she's asking this, she can say the story again. All right, so what about pre-test activities? Since this is purposeful, we are going to teach vocabulary, so how are we going to do vocabulary teaching? You can use picture prompts, okay? We use that a lot, right? Use the PPT. And what's the production of students? You ask them to produce the language, produce the vocabulary. I'll show you. It's in here, okay? Some of them is in here. And word search. You are going to focus on the spelling of the vocabulary, okay? Some words they learned before, walk, run, and they are going to use word search to review it. So remember last time we talked about reuse, recycle, and remember. So we are going to do that again, using the activities. Oral practice with the sentence pattern, but still focus on vocabulary level. You know why? Because students are going to see the sentence pattern, the first part. They only put the last vocabulary slot in the slot. So they only produce the vocabulary, but they can see the sentence pattern in your PPT. So it's like, so still sentence pattern, vocabulary basis, but they're going to see the whole sentence pattern, question and answer. And word categories. So if you see lions, monkeys, they belong to the animal category. If you see run, walk, or climb, it belongs to the verb, okay? If you see ocean, jungle, they are the places, so word categories. So for example, so these pictures are in the book, but you show them before they see the book, probably, okay? And you can post the pictures around the classroom and ask students to find something. So if group 1, go find a spider. Group 2, go find a butterfly, okay? So that's something you can do in the classroom for kinesthetic students, okay? Walking around the classroom and listen and find the word card, picture cards. But you are telling them what are the animals called. And in this word search puzzle, you can group the students together. 4 students, 2 students, pair up, or 3 students. You ask them to only use one letter once to create as many words as possible. The purpose is to make them think, make them spell. So maybe A can spell man, B can spell walk, okay? So let's put all the words together. Oh, we can spell so many words together. So you can ask them to write on the whiteboard and they can show their answer. Okay, they can shout out their answer. Or you can ask them to compete. Which group has the most words, okay? So these are word search. And these letters you are going to use from the storybook. You think about the words that will happen, they will see in the storybook, and then you put the letters in the word search chart. Okay, so you have to design it. Okay, so this is one way to do it. Another way, you can use a word search to find the longest word. In this case, what is the longest word? Could you find it? Can you think about it? I know it's hard because I tried. Okay. Because you haven't seen the book, so it's kind of hard for you. Crocodile, you're so smart. It took like 2 seconds to figure it out. So smart. All right, so you don't need 2 minutes, but students need 2 minutes. Okay, I like Christine's idea. But no activities should be longer than 3 minutes. Okay, because you're prompting them, doing it fast, so they can keep going. Okay, their brain is moving. They're searching for the right word. So keep them going. Okay, and work in the group is a nice atmosphere because the students won't be alone and they won't be so scared. I can't find the longest word. Okay, the longest word is walk. Okay, there's no walk here. Okay, or nose. Okay, so maybe he feel, I'm a failure. I'm not so good. I can't do this. But if you put them together, they can work better. Okay, so when Steve Murray was teaching this, we teachers work in groups and we feel comfortable. Okay, so we enjoy doing this. So we actually walk through all these. He used this to teach us all morning. Okay, 3 or 4 hours. I'm going to teach you in 1 hour. Yeah. Okay. So you don't have to do it. We just go through it. Okay. And let's go to the jungle. What can you see in the jungle? See the sentence pattern, but the students only have to create the word. Pecan. Okay, butterfly, a lion, a monkey. Okay, I think you have to ask them to use something. Students will always forget to use or an. So this is something you can give them to see the sentence pattern, but ask students to say, I see a monkey. Okay, they say a monkey. I think that's very important, okay? So that was the jungle. What about it in the ocean? I see it's turtle, I see fish, I see seahorses, I see a whale, I see, a dolphin, I see a girl swimming in the water, okay? So they can provide the vocabulary level words, okay? And let's go to the mountains. What do you see? Wow, an owl. I can see a girl climbing the mountain, okay? So the advanced students, they can give you a more complicated sentence. But the beginner level students, they may say a wolf. They probably think wolf is easier, okay? But mountain lion, maybe not so easy, okay? Eagle, an eagle, okay, maybe